What do award-winning chefs, bakers, and cookbook authors all have in common? A love for wild blueberries. People who love to cook with blueberries choose wild blueberries because they simply perform better than their cultivated cousins in a wide variety of dishes and drinks. Here are 4 cooks, each with their own style, who appreciate the wild blueberry, a culinary star.
555 and Petite Jacqueline, one restaurant essentially, two locations, 2 different cuisines, but we utilize wild blueberries at both in abundance.
Steve Corey was chosen as one of the 10 best new chefs by Food and Wine magazine. Why does a gourmet chef use wild blueberries?
In my opinion, the difference between a wild blueberry and a cultivated high bush blueberry, if you will, would be primarily 2 things: color and flavor. The smaller wild blueberries tend to be much more intense in flavor, whereas the large blueberries may be plump, but they have kind of a watery, loose kind of texture to them. As you'll see in the kitchen today, I have pickled some blueberries, and they'll last seasons and seasons and seasons. I'm going to be pairing wild Maine blueberries with duck breast, and we're going to use the wild Maine blueberries, which I've pickled this summer, and make a gastrique, which is essentially a sweet and sour sauce, a French technique, whereby we'll caramelize some sugar, add the blueberry vinegar to it, reduce it to a syrup, and we'll use that to cut through some of that fat and also add some acid to that duck. We'll garnish the plate. I love the combination of wild Maine blueberries and citrus and ginger, so there'll be those 2 components in the dish as well. The gastrique that we'll make today actually serves as a nice mixer for a blueberry martini.
At home, any cook has easy access to the same tasty wild blueberries.
The convenience of having access to wild blueberries year-round is fantastic. You can buy them in large frozen bags, and their health benefits are fantastic with the antioxidants.
Dana Moose recently wrote a cookbook to share recipes and tips she's developed from running a bed and breakfast and cooking for her family.
I like the flavor of the wild blueberry. It's a tiny little berry that packs twice the punch in the flavor, twice the antioxidants as the large berry.
From wild blueberry smoothies to her cheese blend souffle with wild blueberry sauce, wild blueberries play a starring role at Dana's B&B, the Pomegranate Inn.
This is one of the favorite recipes that I make, and I call it a souffle. It's not actually a souffle. It's kind of light and fluffy and airy like a souffle, but it's not prepared like one. And it's basically a mix of butter, sugar, eggs, and sour cream, layered with a mix of cottage cheese, cream cheese, and sugar, and egg yolks. And in the top layer of the batter, I sprinkle thawed wild blueberries all around. And then we'll serve that just with a little bit of a drizzle of the wild blueberry liquid that I thicken with a little bit of cornstarch. My whole angle behind the cookbook is really to make it look beautiful, but not spend the entire morning in the kitchen.
Traditionally, wild blueberries have starred in all kinds of sweets. At Two Fat Cats Bakery in Portland, Maine, wild blueberry pie is a year-round specialty.
It's by far one of the most popular pies here. We have never used cultivated blueberries in any of our baking because I think wild blueberries bake much better in all kinds of baking, whether it's a cake or a pie. I think it has a lot more flavor, and I think it breaks down better as an ingredient. We hand roll all of our crusts for all of our pies. And for our wild Maine blueberry pie, we use wild Maine blueberries, sugar, a little bit of cinnamon, lemon juice, and a little bit of a thickener, which is tapioca. We mix that all together and put it in the pie shell and either freeze it or bake it off.
In Washington County, Maine, Marie Emerson also makes famous wild blueberry treats, straight from the wild berries she and her husband Dell grow themselves. But the Emersons needed a way to get the attention of passers-by on Route 1.
We had to build a farm stand, and the idea was to build a giant blueberry. So we did it ourselves. We cleared the land with every stick of it, inside and out, stained, built, hand-built by our family. The other day, I guess the high point of my day, I heard there was a car full, a family pulled up from out of state, and the kid got out, and at the top of his lungs, he screeched, woohoo, blueberry land. And I said, well, you know, that's why we did it.
From roadside attraction to gourmet restaurant, from health food to cocktail, wild blueberries are easy to find and ready to be the culinary star in your kitchen.